both as co-parents and put you on there, even though the mother that's on the birth certificate has nothing to do with the child biologically. They'll still do it. So obviously it's blatant discrimination in this case. And, I'm not surprised. Obviously, this is, of course, Texas. And it is going, even once the law is overturned in Texas against gay marriage, which actually has already happened. But I mean, when it goes into effect in probably a year or two after all the appeals run out, and appeals to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court's going to finally say the same thing every other state has said, that, oh, sorry, it's their federal constitutional right, then you can't deny them. It's ultimately going to happen. And so when that happens, when we are recognized as equals under the law of Texas in terms of marriage, they're going to find some other way, of course, to just try to make it so that two guys can adopt a kid or two women can adopt a kid that's their own. And this has been, one of the reasons why I've been so trepidatious myself, and my husband and I have been trepidatious in actually adopting kids actually having kids this method through surrogacy, because it is incredibly, incredibly complicated, especially in a state that doesn't recognize our marriage. Even though our marriage is legal in Connecticut and recognized by the federal government, it's not recognized by the state of Texas. So because of that, it makes it incredibly difficult, as this story illustrates. Obviously, it's not as simple as the fact, oh, well, you're the biological parent, therefore, of course, you should be on the birth certificate. Nope. Not going to happen in the state of Texas, as long as they can try, as long as they can try to do whatever they can to, make it difficult for us as gay people. But this is one of the reasons why, we have been so trepidatious about diving into that whole thing. Other than the fact that it's going to cost probably $100,000 to $200,000, depending if we have one kid or two, to go through the whole route. Unless we find some woman who wants us to buy her a Mercedes or something in lieu of it, then we'll do it that way. But anyway, or Tesla or something. Anybody who's out there who's listening, who wants to be a surrogate in exchange for a brand new Tesla, let me know. But anyway, I think that it's ridiculous, and it's just a matter of time, of course, like everything else with what is civil rights for we gay people, that we will ultimately get our equality. And so they just want to make it as difficult as possible for as long as possible, of course. But this is one reason why adoption would be much easier, even though adoption is difficult in Texas for gay people or gay couples. You can adopt as a single person, but not as a couple, because you can't, if you adopt as a couple, then they're considering that to be a gay marriage. So it's so fucking frustrating. And, what are they doing really? They're denying this kid, or these kids rather, these twins that are, related to the same biological mother and have two different dads, but would be growing up together. They're denying that they are a family, that these two men and these two children are a family. Now, what is a family? Hello, a family is not just biologically related individuals. It's never been just biologically related individuals. It has always been defined and redefined as other things, especially in this day and age where we have single mothers, single fathers, we have two moms, two dads, we have, I don't know, we have so many things. Yes, by the way, what's her name there? Hold on. Somebody just tweeted me. Listening to my show. Wish I had... What the fuck does that say? I can't read your name. It's at Love Live Shearer or some fucking thing. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for listening anyway. But they said Tesla, really? Yeah, Tesla. I mean, it's worth it to me. But anyway, I got off track there. Sorry. Thanks for listening, by the way. I forgot what I was saying. But anyway, yeah, so it's just a matter of time. Hopefully it's going to happen, and we'll just see what happens in the future. So that's what that story's about. And, that's what I was trying to say. What is a family? A family is not just, it's what you make it. So, when I was growing up, I had my mom and my grandmother and myself, and we were a family. That's who we were. I grew up with them primarily throughout most of my life. And, throughout my teen years and my, small kid years or whatever, I grew up with them, and that we were a family. So anyone to say we weren't a family is ridiculous. Yes, we were all related, but I've seen people who have taken a kid who's of a friend or a family member or of someone, a complete stranger or whatever. Are they a family? Yes. just because you adopt someone and they're not blood related, and yet you still have a mom and a dad, or you have two dads and two moms or whatever, and you just have one dad and one mom, whatever. Is that not a family? Of course it is. A family is not just about biology. It never has been. It never will be. And to deny these children the recognition of who they are is wrong, and it pisses me off. There was, I don't know if you guys have seen this, there was a hilarious video. It was kind of gross in a way to me. There has been this study about brown bears and how obviously they're one of the only species that give and receive oral sex for pleasure. Sometimes a lot of animals will do it, or specifically bears sometimes will do it because they are stressed out or something, just themselves, and sort of like a stress coping mechanism, not just for pleasure. But these brown bears, apparently, there's like a video of it or snapshots of it, them actually doing it. It's really weird and kind of funny. But these bears, as according to the Zoo Biology Journal, and the Department of Wildlife Conservation in Poland, say that bears actually do perform oral sex on each other, and these particular bears have done so over the past 6 years just for pleasure and not for any other reason. So first of all, I guess they're gay, and secondly, they do it because they want to, which is what we humans do. So they found that to be interesting. And that's just another example of the fact that we gay homosexuality exists in nature. It always pisses me off when people are saying, it doesn't piss me off so much, it just annoys me, I guess, when people say, oh, gay is unnatural, or being gay is against God, or whatever bullshit they say. And it's completely fucking ridiculous to say that, because it's obvious that being gay is natural. It is in all nature. It is in almost every species. You've seen it. It's been witnessed and it's recorded, scientifically recorded. We witness it in our own animals sometimes, and it's a natural phenomena for some people and for some animals, just like being heterosexual is a natural phenomena for some people and some animals. So it's not like being gay is unnatural. And so anytime anybody says it's unnatural, they're wrong. And even people will say, oh, what about the act of being gay? Well, there's no act of being gay. If you're talking about anal sex, well, that's one thing, but heterosexual people have anal sex as well. And anal sex has been around for a very long time and is a natural expression of the body, just like anything else, just like anybody else would do. So it has nothing to do with being natural or unnatural. It's just an expression, just like anything else is, a sexual expression, I mean. So, anyway, it pisses me off people say that, but it's just one more example of how nature expresses itself in many ways, and shows you that gay people and homosexuality in general is anything but unnatural, obviously. So I was going to talk also about the fact that there was another dead gay porn star. I had a friend for many years who was totally in love with this guy, and he was his favorite porn star. His name was Cameron Fox, and I always thought Cameron Fox was okay, I guess, but I always thought he looked like a little midget. He's like really short and squat, and I never found him that attractive, but my friend always found him really attractive. But anyway, so as soon as I found out, I emailed my friend and said, oh my God, your favorite person just died, or whatever, your favorite porn star. But the weird thing is, and I'm sure most of you recognize this and realize this, that we have had all of these deaths in the gay community, or I should say the gay porn community, of which I'm not a part, by the way. The gay porn community has had a great number of deaths in the past few years. Many big names in gay porn: Arpad Mikolos, Kristen Fox. There's several other ones I can't remember their names, but that have died. And they haven't died of like AIDS or sexual transmitted disease or anything like that. It's been like suicide or murder, or it's always been something horrible like that. And it's really bizarre. They just keep dropping like flies, and for no reason. It's just strange. And so obviously there's something going on in the gay porn world that is fostering some sort of environment that creates people, creates suicidal tendencies or murderous homicidal tendencies in people, because it keeps happening. And so I'm wondering what that's about. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, maybe it's, could be several things. First of all, obviously, drugs are typically rampant in the gay porn industry, both for performance reasons as well as for fun and enhancement, and so people do ecstasy or I don't know, whatever drug. I'm not a drug person, so I don't really know. Molly, I guess, or whatever. They do all these kind of drugs to get them in the mood, and sometimes they do the porn for the drugs because they're addicted, or if it's meth or heroin or whatever. And so I think that's one thing. And I think obviously if you're involved in drug abuse, then obviously you're going to certainly want to. You're going to eventually get to the point that you're going to actually fucking be involved with the wrong people. If you're around a bunch of people who do drugs all the time, I'm not saying people who do drugs are bad people per se, but that environment, it's a bunch of addictive people who are addicted to drugs and people who are selling drugs. So people who are selling drugs who are greedy and wanting money, and they'll give a shit about anything else, the health of the people that they're selling them to or whatever. And so they'll lace it with things, that could kill people or whatever, just because it fills it out and makes it cheaper for them to sell. Or they'll sell to people they know are strung out or they know that are going to die if they keep doing the drugs. And then the people who do the drugs are strung out, so they'll do whatever they can. And so, a lot of times people just have who are addicted in that kind of culture, they have absolutely no sense of, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-esteem, really. And all they care about is their next fix or whatever. And sometimes it's sexual addiction. And sometimes it's, it's all kinds of addiction, I think, that are running rampant. And the kind of person that is going to be a porn star, most of the time, I think, is not going to be the most well-adjusted individual. I mean, if you're going to be someone who has sex on camera for money, most of the time, I'm not saying this is always true of every single porn star. I think some porn stars can be quite well-adjusted, know exactly what they're getting into and not actually have an issue with it. And actually come out, on the other side, once they're used up in the industry, so to speak. But I think a lot of them go into it just for the same reason people who go into being a famous actor or actress or singer or someone who wants to be famous or whatever, just because they want to fill that void in their soul. And I think that they are already kind of on the kind of precipice of sanity in some ways, or depression or whatever. And so the fact that they are like that when they come to the porn industry and they get all these accolades and this attention and all this money, et cetera, initially, until, they're used up, because essentially the cachet or the sexuality or the sexiness of a porn star wears off after a while when people start to see them over and over and over and over and over again. That's why like certain gay porn stars, like Ryan Idle and some Joey Stefano when he was around, and several other ones, didn't like do a lot of porn all the time. They spread it out over many years because they knew that they had a shelf life. And so I think some people get to the point where their shelf life is up and they probably get depressed and they get addicted to the money and sometimes the drugs, like I said, and they have to find something real to do, like a real job. And if they're not going to find something in the porn industry, like they're doing their own studio or producing their own porn, then they're going to probably have to go find a real job, like wherever. And most of the time, people who are in porn don't have a lot of skills. Now, that's not always true because, for example, Arpad Mikolos, whatever, was like a brain chemist or like a rocket scientist or some crazy shit, neuroscientist or something. And he was like a huge porn star. But he obviously didn't have to do this. He could have done other things, but he enjoyed it. He also committed suicide or was found dead or whatever too. I think he committed suicide. So if you don't have any other skills and this is all you have left, and you get addicted to the money or the drugs or the fame or whatever, I think a lot of them end up either killing themselves or end up selling themselves as escorts, obviously, which is also not a good industry to be in, I think, in terms of safety and long-term or longevity, generally speaking, especially if you're a bottom, probably. So I think it's sad. It's really sad that this keeps happening in the gay world, and hopefully it's going to change. I don't know what's going on. I'm not the gay world, but the gay porn world. I'm not sure what's going on, but I hope someone gets to the bottom of it. Obviously some kind of horrible phenomena is going on in gay porn industry. And not only we're losing these beautifully attractive men, and probably really nice people as well, and good people, not always, but sometimes probably, they are, part of our community. And so we have to remember that this is part of our community, and we can't just stand by and not do anything about it or say anything about it. So my part is to try to say, let's